بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا وعظيمنا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع نفوسنا أبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وأصحابه الغر الميامين. الحمد لله الذي جعلنا من المتمسكين بولاية سيدي ومولاي علي بن أبي طالب. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. أما بعد، يقول الله في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال: لا تثريب عليكم اليوم يغفر الله لكم وهو أرحم الراحمين. The first of our salawat in honor of Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. The second in honor of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib. The third with your loudest voices in honor of the Imam of our time, Imam Sahib al-Asr wa zaman. Respected brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. The verse in question, verse 92 of chapter 12 of the Holy Quran, is regarded as one of the most beautiful verses of forgiveness within the Holy Book. And indeed is a verse that looks at the exemplary act of forgiveness of the Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam. As we know, the act of forgiveness is seen as one of the highest spiritual acts within the religion of Islam. It's seen as one of the highest spiritual acts in virtually every religion in the world today. If you were to study the literature of Judaism or Christianity, the literature of Hinduism or Sikhism or Buddhism, you'll find that the act of forgiveness is without a doubt an act which is seen as being of the greatest of acts. The forgiving personality is someone who is always revered within their community. They are seen as a saintly exemplar for the rest of the members of the community. You know that each and every one of us, without a doubt, either faces a moment in our life where we have to ask for forgiveness or we have to forgive. There isn't a single one of us in this hall, but we've had to face one of these two scenarios. That either there's been a day in our life where we've had to ask someone to forgive us for a certain act, or that we may ourselves be in a situation where we have to ponder whether we should forgive or not. And indeed, therefore, without a doubt, our ability to forgive highlights our spiritual state. You'll find that there are certain people who are so stubborn that they'll never forgive anyone who's wronged them. Then you'll find that there are others, no, on the contrary, they're willing to forgive even those who have wronged them or even wronged their families. That's why when you look at some of the greatest mystics, some of the greatest theologians, some of the greatest jurists, and indeed some of the greatest philosophers, you will find that each and every one of them, without a doubt, has spoken of the merit of forgiveness. For example, Indira Gandhi, in one of her famous lines, once said that forgiveness is the virtue of the brave. It's not easy for anyone to forgive, especially when you've been wronged. If now me and you have been wronged by a member of our community, or by a member of our family, or by a member even within our own household, you'll find it very difficult to forgive. Without a doubt, it's a virtue of the brave. It takes a strong person to forgive those who have wronged them. And that's why Alexander Pope was right when he said that to err is human, but to forgive is divine. Each and every one of us may err. It's in our human nature, let's say, that there's a possibility we may desire, we may become angry, our imagination may lead us to that which is wrong. But to forgive is a sign of those who are divine personalities on this earth. To err, yeah, it's human, but to forgive is divine. And that's why even on the anniversary of his death, I'll never forget a quote of JFK when he said that you should forgive your enemies, just don't forget their names. Yes? That each and every one of us should be in a position where we're willing to forgive even our own enemy. But sometimes you may have seen someone in your life who may have wronged you. Try and have it within yourself to have that honor or that dignity to forgive them. Because what many people don't realize is that there is an increase in the izzah of a human being when they forgive another human being. There are some who feel that forgiveness is a sign of weakness. But if you forgive someone who's wronged you, that means you're weak. That means you have no character whatsoever. On the contrary, the act of forgiveness is an act which increases your honor and your dignity. Why? Because you become above those who surround you. Many of those who surround you will tell you don't forgive. Whereas when your heart is soft enough to forgive those who have wronged you, then you've realized the ways of the prophets of God and the saints that surrounded them. If you study the lives of Moses, you study the lives of Jesus, you study the life of Abraham, you study their lives and you notice that their main trait was that they were forgiving personalities. Sometimes they were even willing to forgive those who wronged them, and sometimes were even willing to forgive those who had wronged those around them. Therefore, when you come to the act of forgiveness, you find within the religion of Islam, that act was seen as the highest of acts. That if a person has it within them to forgive, they were seen as being the highest members of the Islamic community. In the month of Muharram, we ask ourselves the question that sometimes in this same hall, there may be two of you who despise each other, sitting in the same mosque. Are you willing to let bygones be bygones and forgive each other in this month of Muharram? Or will you be like the rest, who say, yes, forgiveness is a good act, but I'm never going to forgive? You see, Muharram is a time of change for us. If me and someone in the community have a problem with each other, then this should be the time where I reassess whether there's a door of forgiveness which I can open for them. Therefore, you find that even on the ladies' side or on the gents' side, there may be two sisters who haven't forgiven each other for years. There may be two brother-in-laws who haven't forgiven each other for years. There may be a father and a son who don't speak to each other anymore. There may be a mother and her daughter-in-law who have no relation with each other. Tonight, when you examine the act of forgiveness, it shouldn't just be an examination which is lip service. Rather, it should be an act that we instill in our life. That we ask ourselves, that person who I've had a grudge against, or they've had a grudge against me, is there a possibility in this month of Muharram we remove the grudge and come together? Is there a possibility that we forgive each other? You see, I can't come in a dua and say, Mawlaya ya Mawlay, Anta al-Ghafuru wa ana al-Mudhnib. Yes? Wa hal yarhamu al-Mudhnib illa al-Ghafur. My master, oh my master, you are the forgiving, I'm the sinful. Who is there for the sinful except the forgiving? I can't come to Allah and ask Him for forgiveness when I'm not willing to forgive His creation. It's unjust that I come on the day of judgment, I'm like, Ya Allah, forgive me, forgive me, forgive me, forgive me. Then He'll turn around to me and say, do you remember when that person came and said sorry and you said, I'll never accept your sorry? Why now should I accept you when you couldn't accept my creation? Therefore tonight, let's examine this spiritual state and act of forgiveness and being forgiven by looking at this particular story and asking the following questions. Number one, what was the test Nabi Yusuf had to face when it came to forgiveness? Number two, how did the Holy Prophet use the verse of Yusuf on forgiveness on the day when he opened Mecca? Number three, what acts in Islam did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala purposely set for us which help enhance our forgiveness of one another? Number 4, how did the Imams of Ahl al-Bayt forgive even those who cursed them and cursed their families? And number 5, what was the most beautiful act of forgiveness on the 10th of Muharram? Let's examine this and seek to dissect this topic in complete depth. When you come towards the story of Nabi Yusuf alayhi salam, without a doubt the story of Nabi Yusuf is one of the most beautiful stories in the Holy Quran, if not regarded by certain scholars as the most beautiful story in the Quran. This story recently was made into a film. I'm sure many of you have come across the film of Nabi Yusuf alayhi salam, and this particular film had an effect on many people's lives, because it's one thing reading a story in the Quran, it's another witnessing the story and picturing it. There is a need in the Muslim world for more of us to make productions of the great lives of the prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because that production doesn't just help me understand the story, that production helps those around me as well when it comes to this incident. You therefore found that this film on Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam, if you haven't watched it, go and watch it, so you realize what this prophet went through. If you haven't realized in the Quran, as in the Quran Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to the Holy Prophet that we're going to talk to you and reveal to you ahsan al-qasas, the best of stories. One of the scholars once was asked, why is Surah Yusuf the best story? As in the Quran you have the story of Ibrahim, the story of Musa, the story of Isa, some snippets of the story of the Holy Prophet. Why is it that Yusuf's story is the best story? It's because every single human being can relate to the story of Nabi Yusuf alayhi salam. If you are young, you can relate to his story. If you have a number of brothers in the family, you can relate to his story. If you have envy between brothers, you can relate to his story. If, for example, you are someone who is in a state of hardship, you can relate to his story. If, for example, you are someone who finds themselves accused of something they never committed, you can relate to his story. If you are someone who's been imprisoned, you can relate to his story. If you are someone who's uncertain whether you can cooperate with a non-Muslim government, you can relate to his story. If you are someone who wants to know about Islamic economics, you can relate to his story. If you are someone who has problems with relationships with the opposite gender in halal and haram, you can relate to his story. If you are someone who faces a test with his family, you can relate to his story. It is unbelievable how this story can be a story which everybody can relate to. There isn't a single person but that they can relate to the story. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't just give us 1 or 2 ayahs of the story. Normally in the Quran, you'll find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala giving you portions of a story, then another surah you'll have another portion, then another surah you'll have another portion. When Rasulullah was given the story of Yusuf, he was given it in over 90 verses. From the beginning of Yusuf's life until the end, it was a solace for Rasulullah that, oh Muhammad, if you think you're going through trials and you think that people will not come towards you, then hear the story of Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam. And Prophet Yusuf, what happened from the beginning of his story? Prophet Yusuf's father, the Nabi Yaqub alayhi salam, who, as you know, his other name is Israel, hence his sons are called the children of Israel. Nabi Yaqub, his other name is Israel. Bani Israel are the children of Yaqub. Nabi Yaqub alayhi salam had married 4 ladies, and these ladies gave him a total of 12 sons. And you found that Nabi Yusuf alayhi salam only shared 1 brother between Yaqub and his mother, that brother whose name was Binyamin. Nabi Yusuf alayhi salam from a young age was seen as the most beautiful of his brothers. And in a way his father had given him a certain amount of attention, not just because of his beauty, but because his father knew that this person was destined to be a prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because when Nabi Yusuf told the story of the dream to his father, he used the description of the human being for the planets. As in, when you're saying that I see the sun and the moon and the stars doing sujood, that's someone who's already interpreted the dream. And that ability to interpret the dream highlighted that Nabi Yusuf alayhi salam already had knowledge above these brothers. But you know, sometimes in life, those blood who are closest to you are the first to be envious of you, correct or no? As in the first crime that happened in humanity was the crime between Habil and Qabil. Two brothers, and Qabil ended up killing Habil. Likewise with Nabi Yusuf alayhi salam, you found Nabi Yusuf, his brothers were extremely jealous of him. How comes our father is giving him too much attention? And this can happen. I'm telling you, there are brothers in this hall and in many halls out there, their own brother who they laughed with and smiled with and joked with for many years, you'll find the two of them don't even call each other anymore. The two of them despise each other. One of the things you should always read a dua is, Ya Allah, don't bring envy or allow anyone to bring envy between me and my brother. Ya Allah, allow us to remain brothers forever in every way possible. These brothers came to Nabi Yaqub, they said, listen, we want to take our brother out and play with him and play sport with him and race with him. Nabi Yaqub, all he did was he said to them, I beg you, look after him. Please, don't do anything bad to him. It's as if, in the heart of his father, he knew very well that these brothers, there are amongst them some who could be wicked in their ways. They said to him, do not worry, we'll look after him. They took Nabi Yusuf out to play. And of course, what was their plan? Some of them, their plan was, let's kill him. Yes? Because envy devours faith like fire devours wood. Imam Amir al-Mu'minin used to say, envy devours faith like fire devours wood. If you think you have Iman, envy can destroy Iman in any second. These people were willing to kill their brother. Then there was another group of them who said, you know what, let's not kill him. Let's pretend we've killed him and we'll sell him for a paltry sum to a caravan heading towards Egypt. And then whatever happens to him. What some of them did was that they pretended he was eaten by a wolf. They took his shirt, they put some stains on the shirt which looked like blood, and they brought it to the father. When they brought it to Nabi Yaqub said, what's this? They said, we've got sad news. Said, what's the sad news? Said, our brother Yusuf was eaten by a wolf. This is his shirt and here's the blood on it. Nabi Yaqub looked at them and he said, I've never seen a wolf eat a human but leave the shirt in excellent condition. Correct? As in, if I'm going to bring a shirt of that a wolf's eaten, I don't bring the shirt ironed. A wolf, Mr. Wolf, when he eats you, does not say Salamu Alaikum to your shirt. That shirt gets ripped apart into pieces. That shirt is shredded. You've seen the shredder? Mr. Wolf doesn't leave a shirt in good condition with the buttons in the right place in the pocket. You don't come to your father and say, hey dad, Yusuf's been killed and Mr. Wolf ate him but he left the shirt in great condition. The shirt, Nabi Yaqub knew straight away that my son is alive. Well, what can he do? Sabr and Jameel. He could only be patient. Nabi Yusuf alayhi salam from then was part of a roller coaster journey. Wallah, when your brothers do something like this to you, it stays in your heart if you're a normal human being, correct? That my brothers have sold me. The Quran says they sold him for a paltry sum. He was then sold to Egypt. He reached Egypt. The treasure of Egypt looked at him and he thought, you know what? That this may be someone we can adopt or someone who will work with us within our house. His wife Zulaykha became infatuated with the young boy. This young boy who was living under his father was now a slave in a house. She became infatuated with him. She ran after him. All of a sudden her husband opens the door. He sees her running after the young man, but to him it could be frolics between the two. So the husband says, who is it? Is it she who ran after him or you ran after her? Eventually they imprisoned Nabi Yusuf alayhi salam. Imagine Nabi Yusuf living under his house, then he's sold as a slave, then he's imprisoned for a crime he hasn't even committed, all because of his brothers, correct? His brothers, if they hadn't done that, the man would be living peacefully. He finds himself in prison. Not just he finds himself in prison, further than finding himself in prison, the narrations mention that while in prison there were two prisoners with him. These prisoners who were with him, he explained to them their dreams. Then when one of the prisoners went back to the king one day had seen a dream which had confused him. This dream which had confused the king, what happened? The king had seen 7 skinny cows eating 7 fat ones. Many of you would have read the verses in the Quran. So he thought to himself, the king, who can answer this for me? The reply came, we know someone in the prison who can answer this for you. When they came to Nabi Yusuf alayhi salam, he gave the answer that there would be years of a famine and this is the way you store what you have. The king at that moment said, you know what? If that young man is able to interpret the dreams, then I want that young man to work as my treasurer. Nabi Yusuf alayhi salam, when they approached him to tell him that the king wants you to work as his treasurer, Nabi Nabi Yusuf alayhi salam could have easily said, yes, alhamdulillah, now I'm out, now I'm free, give me the position. You know what he said? He said, find out, is it Zulaykha who ran after me, or did I run after Zulaykha? Why? Because if you're going to work in any political system, you can't have a black dot on your resume. If everybody knows you were the type who ran after Zulaykha, then no one will trust you politically. He said, let the king find out, did I run after her or did she run after me? When the king found out that Nabi Yusuf alayhi salam was innocent, the king employed him as the economic minister of the whole of Egypt. Some people say, can a Muslim work for a non-Muslim government? Well, as long as you're not compromising your belief, there's no harm. Nabi Yusuf alayhi salam worked for this king. This king wasn't even a believer. The king was a mushrik. The king was a polytheist. But Nabi Yusuf alayhi salam worked for him. He recognized that he could look after the interests, and now the whole of Egypt was under his command. Nabi Yaqub and his sons went through a severe drought. When they went through that drought, they said to their father, Dad, we think we've heard there's a man in Egypt. Apparently he's a very generous man. We don't know who he is. Ironically, we don't know who he is, but we want to go and visit him to see if we are able to what? If we're able to receive anything from him. When they went to Nabi Yusuf alayhi salam, he inquired from them that, do you have another brother who you haven't brought with you? They said to him, yes, we have another brother. What's the name? Binyamin. Bring him with you. Bring him and I'll give you a certain amount. When they brought that other brother with them, that other brother, one of the cans which takes in the corn was left where? Was left with that other brother. The rumor went round that what? That because that can with the corn was in the bag of the brother, that brother's stolen. And if someone stole at that time, then that person has to remain behind. The other brothers can go, but that person has to remain behind. Nabi Yusuf and the king of the time looked at them and he said, how dare your brother, that king said, how dare your brother steal from us? We are to keep that brother. Do you know what they replied? Listen to the audacity of their reply. They said, well, if he stole, we used to have a brother like him who stole as well. Nabi Yusuf, when he was younger, used to go to his auntie's house. His auntie didn't want him to go back to the dad. She used to love him so much. She used to plant something in the bag so that he'd get caught and he'd be forced to stay with her an extra few days. These brothers remembered that. So these brothers turned around and said, you know what, if he's stolen, and imagine how hard this is for you to take when you're talking, yes? Because Nabi Yusuf, they don't know it's Nabi Yusuf, but he knows it's them. They're talking in front of Nabi Yusuf, not recognizing him, and they're like, you know what, if he's stolen, he had a brother like him who used to steal as well. Nabi Yusuf alayhi salam said, no problem, you know what, come back and we'll be generous towards you. He then looked at Binyamin. He said to him, are you Binyamin? He said, yes, I am. He said, I am your brother Yusuf. For the first time, Yusuf and Binyamin came back and saw each other. Then when these brothers came back to take their generous portion, he looked at them. He said, do you know who I am or no? They said, no, we don't recognize you. Who are you? He said, I am Yusuf, your brother. Do you know how much of a sensitive moment that is? Do you know why? These were the people who were the cause of you becoming a slave, you sold in the markets, you being a stranger in Egypt. I don't know about those of you who've had a fight with your brothers, but I don't think you can list me the following things as to how they've wronged you. You were a slave, sold in the market, a stranger, accused of a crime you've never committed, imprisoned because of that crime. All of this, and then these brothers come and say, we beg you forgive us, Yusuf. We were wrong with what we've done. We beg you forgive us. I tell you, there are some of the followers of Ahlul Bayt today, if their brother in their family has wronged them in one business deal, you'll see them saying, I never want to speak to that person again. That brother may have wronged you in one business deal. There's no doubt. Nabi Yusuf's brothers made him enter prison, made him a stranger, made him a slave, made him a person who was with no family. Surely Nabi Yusuf could have turned around on that day and said, you know what, you're asking me for forgiveness? Never. I'll never forgive any of you. It's because of you, you ruined my life. It's because of you, I haven't seen my father for years. But as Alexander Pope said, to err is human, but to forgive is divine. A divine personality on the earth is someone, even when you've wronged him, he'll turn around and he'll say, you know what? لا تثريب عليكم اليوم. He quoted this ayah of the Quran, Surah 12, verse 92. And I beg all of you, whenever you have a tense moment at home, put this ayah somewhere in the house, so that if your sister or your mother or your friend or your cousin tells you forgive, don't turn around and straight away say, you know what, never, the door's closed. Rather turn around and say, قال لا تثريب عليكم اليوم يغفر الله لكم وهو أرحم الراحمين. What did he say to them? He said, you know what, there's no reproof for any of you today. Allah will forgive you because he is the most merciful of all merciful ones. This line is a wonderful line. You know why? Because this man could have easily turned around and he could have said, you know what, I'm going to forgive you. I'm a prophet of God. You people are lower than me. I don't need to forgive. But if I'm going to ask Allah one day to forgive me, then how can I not forgive his creation? Correct or no? You found that that particular ayah was one of the most beautiful ayahs within the Quran. That he said to them, there is no reproof against any of you. يَغْفِرُ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ. You're coming to ask me for forgiveness? You have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala whose doors of rahmah never close. Ask him for forgiveness and he'll forgive you. Therefore, that particular incident of Nabi Yusuf became an exemplary incident of forgiveness. That one man could forgive 10 brothers. Some of us in this hall, one brother-in-law has hurt us and we don't speak to him. Did that brother-in-law put you in prison, or he made you a slave, or he made you leave your house? No, there may be something petty which became exaggerated. Whereas Nabi Yusuf alayhi salam, his brothers done all of that, and yet with all humility he said to them, لا تثريب عليكم اليوم يغفر الله لكم وهو أرحم الراحمين. This ayah was so important in forgiveness that Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa Muhammad, used it on the day he conquered Mecca. You see, Rasulullah, when he conquered Mecca, there were certain people in Mecca who had tortured his family and his friends non-stop. For many years, Rasulullah had left Mecca. He had gone to live in Medina, hadn't he? When he conquered Mecca, he saw some faces who had killed some of his beloved, or had tortured some of his beloved, or had made a miscarriage on some of his beloved, or had made fun of him. What do I mean? When he entered Mecca, people like Abu Sufyan, people like Hind, these people had been the worst enemies of the religion of Islam, correct or no? When Rasulullah opened Mecca, Abu Sufyan, do you know what he thought to himself? You know what, now that Muhammad's opened Mecca, I'm dead. I'm finished. Muhammad's gonna come, he's gonna behead me, or one of his companions will behead me. I'm the man who killed Yasir. I killed Sumayya, the parents of Ammar. We are the ones who made Ja'far al-Tayyar go far. We are the ones who made Khadija ill till she died in the Sha'b of Abu Talib. We are the ones who made Abu Talib restless and alone. Muhammad's definitely gonna kill us. But anyway, let's go up to Muhammad and say to him, forgive us. I tell you, with what Abu Sufyan and Hind done to Rasulullah, would you forgive them or no? Would you? There are some of us, people who have done less to us, we don't forgive them. They came to Rasulullah, they said to him, Muhammad, forgive us for what we have done to you. Many of these companions got the sword out thinking, you know what, we're about to kill them now. Rasulullah looked at them and he said, قال لا تثريب عليكم اليوم يغفر الله لكم وهو أرحم الراحمين. If you sincerely are looking for forgiveness, don't worry. Today there's no reproof against you. Allah will forgive you. He's the most merciful. If you claim that you're asking for rahmah, then, and you claim that you're sincere, don't worry about today. I've let go of what's happened before us. Some of these companions looked at him and said, Ya Rasulullah, Abu Sufyan and Hind with what they've done. He said to them the ayah of Nabi Yusuf alayhi salam, لا تثريب عليكم اليوم يغفر الله لكم. Let me give you someone else. You had Abdullah al-Zab'ari. Abdullah al-Zab'ari, do you know what he used to do in Mecca? He used to have stage shows making fun of Rasulullah every day, mocking Rasulullah's voice, mocking Rasulullah's face, mocking Rasulullah's character. As soon as Rasulullah conquered Mecca, Abdullah al-Zab'ari was right in front of him. He came to Rasulullah, he said, oh Muhammad, Muhammad, those were days when I was ignorant. I beg you forgive me. You know what, now that I know about Islam, I want to ask for your forgiveness. This man used to mock Rasulullah, yet when he came to Rasulullah, the heart of Rasulullah was so pure. He looked at him, he said, لا تثريب عليكم اليوم يغفر الله لكم وهو أرحم الراحمين. Don't worry, there's no reproof against you. Go ahead. The companions are looking around thinking, Ya Rasulullah, these guys used to torture us. Surely there's no room for forgiveness. Not at all. Islam never closes the door. Islam kept the door open. Let me give you another example. Ammar ibn al-Aswad. You know what he did to Rasulullah? Rasulullah had amongst the daughters, sometimes there are narrations which mention he had only one daughter, Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam. Other narrations mention no, that he may have had 4 daughters. Of them was a daughter, some say she was a stepdaughter, by the name of Zainab. This Zainab, when she was married to Ibn al-Rabi', she was on her horse leaving Mecca to Medina, yes, and she was pregnant. While pregnant, Ammar ibn al-Aswad wanted to hurt her because he knew she's the daughter of Rasulullah. Do you know what he came and did to her? He saw that she was on her horse. He screamed next to the horse to scare the horse. The horse got scared. Straight away she fell from the horse onto her womb. Miscarried. She miscarried there and then. That person, when Rasulullah conquered Mecca, came to Rasulullah groveling with his apology. He came and he said, Ya Rasulullah, forgive me. I was wrong what I did. Imagine your daughter, the love of your life, the heart walking outside your body. Imagine someone makes her miscarry her baby. Would you, I beg all of you in this hall today, would any of you forgive that person or no? But the heart of Rasulullah is a heart of purity, and he is of divine status while he was walking on the earth. Rasulullah looked at him and he said, you are sincerely repentant? He said, yes, I am. He said, well, now that Islam has come in your life, what you have done before is all gone. لا تثريب عليكم اليوم يغفر الله لكم وهو أرحم الراحمين. But there was one man in particular who came to ask for his forgiveness when he conquered Mecca, who even Rasulullah found it hard to forgive, but he forgave him. Who? Wahshi, the killer of his uncle Hamza. Your uncle in life is someone really beloved to you. There's always one uncle in your life who you have a soft spot for, correct? There's a few who can be headaches, but there's always one who you have a soft spot for. That one uncle who you have a soft spot for, you two are like best friends, not uncle, nephew. True or no? It's like you talk and laugh and joke and so on. Hamza was like that to Rasulullah, because Hamza to Rasulullah was like a best friend. They were virtually the same age, so they grew up together. When Ali ibn Abi Talib and Hamza annihilated Abu Sufyan's army and Abu Jahl's army on the day of Badr, Abu Sufyan was at home with Hind. When the news reached Abu Sufyan, when the news reached Hind, Hind said, what's happened at Badr? The reply was, we've been defeated. She said, who defeated? Said, you've been defeated by the army of Muhammad. She said, that's impossible. There's 313 against 950 of us. At that moment they said to her, no, there were 3 men vicious in war. Who? Said Muhammad bin Abdullah, the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, his family, Hamza bin Abdul Muttalib, and Ali ibn Abi Talib. She said, what did Ali ibn Abi Talib do? Said, Ali ibn Abi Talib killed your dad. Because these things come back. Ali ibn Abi Talib killed your dad. She said, the son of Abu Talib killed my dad, Utbah? He said, yes. And your brother? The son of Abu Talib, how old is he? 24. A 24-year-old kills my father? Said to her, yes. Said, very well. Abu Sufyan, I want vengeance for what happened at Badr. He said to her, and how do you want it? She said, I will think about it and I will tell you. They were all sitting down. There were these dancers moving around, and they had some of these African slaves who can throw a spear through anything. One of these dancers had a small hole, or she was wearing something on her head, and there's a small hole there. One of them, they're all sitting down, it's like they were having a meal. All of a sudden they saw one of these black African slaves throw the spear directly through the hole. She said, you, come here. What's your name? Said, Wahshi. Said, very well, come here. Said, you know what, I want you have a role. What's the role? And I'll expand on this in a few nights, inshallah. What's the role? Said to her, she said to him, I want you to go with Abu Sufyan. I want you to go to the battle of Uhud. I want you to kill Ali, son of Abu Talib. He said to her, Ali son of Abu Talib? He said, yes. You know, when they reached the battle of Uhud, they were looking at the battle. She was in her tent. Wahshi had his spear ready, yes? He said to her, who do you want me to kill? Said Ali ibn Abi Talib. Said, very well, I'll finish him easily. The young man? Said, yes, the young man. Said, finish him? Said, I'll finish him. A few minutes later, he came back. He said, change your plan. So what do you mean? Said, mention to me who you want killed. She said, Ali son of Abu Talib. He said, impossible. You can't kill him on a battlefield. She looked and she said, what do you mean? He said to her, Hamza, the uncle of Muhammad, is easy to kill because when he fights, his stance is open. Yes? So you can get the spear through. Muhammad is impossible to kill because he's got too many soldiers around him. You're not going to get anything through. But as for the son of Abu Talib, it's impossible to kill him. She said, why? He said, I've never ever in my life seen a soldier who, if you throw something from behind him, just before it hits him, he turns and stops it. He said he has a unique skill on the battlefield that it's as if he's got eyes on the back of his head when he fights. So he said that I can't kill him, but as for Hamza, I can. She said, very well, I want Hamza's body mutilated. You know what she did? He ripped up Hamza's body on the ground. She first tried to eat Hamza, yes, but she couldn't, so she made a necklace of his body parts, yes. That Wahshi, on the day of the opening of Mecca, Rasulullah was sitting down, Wahshi came. Ya Rasulullah, forgive me. As soon as he heard his voice, he said to him, are you Wahshi? He said, yes, I am. He said, do not worry, you can go. Do you know how hard it was for Rasulullah to say, do not worry, you can go? This man ripped your uncle's heart open. This man massacred and desecrated your uncle's body. But Rasulullah quoted this ayah of Nabi Yusuf alayhi salam. لا تثريب عليكم اليوم يغفر الله لكم وهو أرحم الراحمين. Do not worry, there's no reproof against you today. Wahshi, Habbar ibn al-Aswad, Abdullah al-Zab'ari, the others like Abu Sufyan and Hind, on the day of Mecca, all of them thought Muhammad's gonna kill us. Yet they saw the forgiving nature of Rasulullah. That forgiving nature, that beauty where even his worst enemy, the door of forgiveness was open for them. And that's why you notice that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted forgiveness to be easy in the religion of Islam. Allah didn't want 20 Maulanas to come and sort two brothers out, yes? In our communities, this Maulana comes, that Maulana comes, this Maulana, that Maulana. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't want it to be like that, no. Allah wanted a Muslim community where everybody lived in peace and harmony and there was no grudge against one another. Someone turns around to me and says, Ammar, what, do you expect me to forgive and then become best friends and lovey-dovey with that person? No. No one told you to hug and kiss that person all day. All we were saying is, when you see that person, keep a salam and a alaykum between each other. At least acknowledge each other's presence. Even if in an email you say salamu alaykum. If not, then in salat al-layl, mention them. Please listen to this line. One of the acts which Allah purposely made for us to remove any hatred we have of anyone in our heart and to forgive them was salat al-layl. And the final rak'ah of namaz al-shab, the final rak'ah of salat al-layl. In the final rak'ah of salat al-layl, you all know salat al-layl is 11 rak'ahs. In the final rak'ah, which is called salat al-wad, you have that you say, for example, oh Allah, I seek refuge from the fire of hell. Ya Allah, I am the one who says to you sorry. Ya Allah, I am the one who says forgive me. Then you pray for 40 people's forgiveness, dead or alive, isn't it? You come, you raise your hands, you say Allahumma ighfir li fulan wa fulan wa fulan wa fulan. Correct or no? In those 40 who you've asked for their forgiveness, have you ever noticed that sometimes someone you don't like, his name comes up in the picture? Those of you who prayed Salat al-Layl will know exactly what I'm talking about. That sometimes you'll be like, oh Allah, forgive my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister. Not them. Why have they come up? No. Let me think of someone else. That's a major test of your spirituality. Can you forgive those who've hurt you, if not face to face, privately between you and Allah? How many times has it come in your salah? Those of you who don't pray Salat al-Layl, try and pray Salat al-Witr. You know why? 6th Imam used to say, the kafara for your sins in the daytime is Salat al-Layl. If you want to have an expiation for your sins, pray Salat al-Layl. That's the kafara for the sins of the day. You pray for 40 people's forgiveness. Ya Allah, forgive mom, forgive dad, forgive my brother, forgive my sister. Oh, not him. If at that moment you could say, and him, then you've removed the grudge from your heart, and your level of spirituality rises to an unbelievable level. Because I don't want to go to a Jannah, if Allah grants me Jannah, where I have a grudge against another Muslim. I was once sitting with one of the ulama of the school of Ahlul Bayt. I said to Maulana, if I don't like someone in this world, yes, there's someone I don't like, but they are followers of Ahlul Bayt and I'm a follower of Ahlul Bayt, correct? They pray, I pray. They fast, I fast. They honor Ahlul Bayt, I honor Ahlul Bayt. Maulana, when it comes to the day of judgment, are you telling me and them are going to be in the same Jannah? Because that won't be a Jannah for me. I said, because I haven't forgiven them. But do I have to see them in Jannah? You see, if you and your brother-in-law don't talk, or you and your daughter don't talk, or you and your cousin don't talk, but both of you are followers of Ahlul Bayt, so what, both of you are going to be in Jannah? Wallah, I don't want to be in that Jannah, because you lot will make it a Jahannam for me if I see the both of you. I want to be in a Jannah where we begin. So I said to Maulana, what happens? He said, just before they enter Jannah, the angels will ask both of them, have you forgiven that person? One of them will turn around and say, you know what? Let bygones be bygones. I've forgiven them. Allah will say, enter my Jannah. The other one will say, no way. Let them beg me for forgiveness, then I'll think about it. That person, the angels will keep waiting and waiting, because Allah doesn't want anyone to enter Jannah who has an iota of hatred against the follower or lover of Muhammad and Al Muhammad. When it comes to Salat al-Layl, what is Salat al-Layl? You pray, you come to that name, think of your worst enemy in your family, for example. In Salat al-Layl, if you're not going to go up to them and say, you know what, I've forgiven you, because your ego is too high, even though Rasulullah said the izzah of a human increases when they forgive. If your ego is too high, then at least in the middle of the night say, you know what, Ya Allah, I've forgiven them. If they haven't forgiven me, I've forgiven them. I've let it go. Allah instituted Salat al-Layl, those 40 who you ask for forgiveness for, so that we remove any rancor we have against any of our brothers, and that we keep our heart which is pure. And that's why you notice with the Imams of Al Muhammad, that the Imams of Al Muhammad, sometimes you'd have people who insulted them with the worst insults, yet subhanallah, they found doors of forgiveness for them. I'll never forget Imam Zayn al-Abidin salawatullah wa salamuhu alayh. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Imam Zayn al-Abidin, you know, when Hisham bin Ismail was governor of Medina, he used to bully Imam Zayn al-Abidin. I tell you, nobody went through hardship like Imam Zayn al-Abidin with Hisham bin Ismail. Hisham bin Ismail, when Imam Zayn al-Abidin would leave his house, he'd come and barge him, he'd come and push him, he'd make kids throw small stones at him. Never once would Imam Zayn al-Abidin raise his voice. Never once would Imam Zayn al-Abidin be rude towards him. When Umar bin Abdul Aziz became governor of Medina, he replaced Hisham bin Ismail. When he replaced Hisham bin Ismail, you know what happened? Umar bin Abdul Aziz came to Imam Zayn al-Abidin. He came to him, he said, oh Ali ibn al-Hussein, Hisham bin Ismail used to bully you, yes? And he used to hurt you and your family, yes? Imam Zayn al-Abidin said, yes, he used to hurt us and he used to bully us as well, yes? So Umar bin Abdul Aziz said, you know what I've done? I've locked him up. Now anyone who wants to take out their vengeance on him can go and take their vengeance on him. You can imagine, he was chained up to a wall. Anyone who wants to take their vengeance can go. The companions of Imam Zayn al-Abidin alayhi salam, they came to the Imam, they said to him, Imam, this is our chance. Hisham bin Ismail, who used to torture us, now he's with chains. What shall we do to him, O Imam? Imam looked at them, he said, what do you think we should do? They said, we should take our vengeance. He said, no. He said, I want you to go to Hisham bin Ismail, and I want you to whisper in his ear, oh Hisham, if you are hungry, then Ali ibn al-Hussein will feed you. And if you are thirsty, then Ali ibn al-Hussein will quench your thirst. And if you have an outstanding loan, then Ali ibn al-Hussein will pay your loan. Tell me, which man has a heart like that with someone who's wronged him? None of us would do that. He went up to Hisham Ismail. Hisham Ismail was locked up. He whispered in his ear. He said, oh Hisham, if you are thirsty, I, Ali ibn al-Hussein, will bring you water every day. Oh Hisham, if you are hungry, I will feed you. Oh Hisham, if you have an outstanding loan, then I'll pay the loan. You know, Hisham Ismail said, Allah truly knows where to put his risala. Allah knows which individuals to give his risala to, which individuals to bless with his message. Imam Zain al-Abidin could just easily turn around and said, this is the enemy of Ahlul Bayt. Rather, Imam Zain al-Abidin turned around and said that such a person try and somehow leave some door of forgiveness open for them even though they've wronged us. Someone asks the question on this note, that does that mean when you say Allah is forgiving and the Imams are forgiving, how do we know that people like Yazid aren't forgiven by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? This is what some people pose in our communities. Because there are some who turn around and said, listen, Allah is so forgiving, then maybe he's forgiven Yazid. Why do we do la'na on Yazid? La'na on Yazid is wrong. We should forgive Yazid and forgive those who were Yazids before him. Why is it that we do la'na on Yazid? Firstly, was the door of forgiveness open for Yazid after Karbala? Shaykh al-Mufid narrates that Imam Zain al-Abidin, Yazid looked at him and he said, is there any way I can be forgiven for killing your father? Imam Zain al-Abidin looked at him and he said, yes, pray Salat al-Ghufayla between Maghrib and Isha for 40 days in a row, Allah will forgive you for what you've done. Imam Zain al-Abidin knows Yazid is a filthy animal. Someone like him will never pray, yes? But Imam was showing that Yazid, what, do you doubt Allah's doors of forgiveness? If you have a sincere cause, then Allah will forgive. But this person Yazid, so arrogant, so filthy, that he didn't even bother praying one Salat al-Ghufayla. Even there was a door possible for him that Yazid could have been. But someone like Yazid is an animal on this earth, and worse. He'll never ever look for the door of forgiveness, number one. Number two, those who come and tell me, Sayyidina, Yazid, we should think about how Allah might forgive him, we shouldn't do la'na. The famous Persian poet replies beautifully. What does he say? He says, they tell me, do not do la'na on Yazid, for Allah may forgive him. Therefore I do double the la'na. Why? Because if Allah is willing to forgive Yazid for killing Imam al-Hussein, then he'll forgive me for doing la'na on Yazid. Correct or no? If Allah is that forgiving that he's going to forgive Yazid for killing Imam Hussein, then I'll do la'na non-stop, yes? Because then Allah will forgive my la'na as well. People like Yazid and the Yazids who came before Yazid, yes? The Yazids who came before Yazid, these people, the door of forgiveness was closed on them. A, because the Imams made that clear. B, because these people oppressed the rights of Muhammad and al-Muhammad. And a person who oppresses the rights of Muhammad and al-Muhammad and dies without coming under their guidance is someone who has died a disbeliever. And it's no surprise Imam Zain al-Abidin tried to be forgiving to even those who tortured him. Why? Because when you have a father like Imam al-Hussein, you can only be a person of forgiveness. No doubt why Zain al-Abidin came out like he was, because he saw a father who forgave a man who blocked the water of Karbala from his own children. I tell you, the way he forgave Hur bin Yazid al-Riyahi, there is no speaker who can ever explain it. And there is no human being who can ever explain that moment of forgiveness. A man who blocks water from my children, yes. Sukaina's throat dry, yes. Ruqayya's lips dry because of Hur bin Yazid al-Riyahi. Hur bin Yazid al-Riyahi, it wasn't like he was an evil man, but politically he had everything confused. Politically, when Imam al-Hussein told him, you know how many letters I've received from Kufa? He said, I haven't signed any letter. I don't know about these letters. He said to him, Hur, the people have told me to come. He said, I promise you, I don't know about any of this. All I know is that you have to pledge allegiance to the governor of your time, and that's it, you can go your own way. So then he looked at Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. It was salah time. Imam al-Hussein said to him, Hur, you lead us. He turned around, he said, Aba Abdullah, you are the son of Fatima al-Zahra. How can I lead you in salah? You have to lead us. There was that aorta in him, yes, that aorta of goodness, where the door of forgiveness shouldn't close on those people who have a bit of goodness in your families. Don't close the door on them. Yes, we have cousins who are bad, but they have some good traits. Try and keep the door of forgiveness open for them. Hur turned around, he said to him, you're the son of Fatima. How can I lead salah? Imam al-Hussein led salah. Then when Hur blocked the water from Imam al-Hussein's children, you know what happened when he blocked the water? Imam al-Hussein said to him, him when he wanted to continue in his journey, and Hur blocked him. Imam said, may your mother have never given birth to you. Yes? You know how insulting that is? When someone says, may your mother have never given birth. You know what he turned around to Imam al-Hussein and said? If you were the son of any other lady, I would have insulted your mother. But you're the son of Fatima al-Zahra. How can I insult your mother? And Imam al-Hussein could look in his eyes, and he knew there was a purity in the man's eyes, but the man was confused. Imam al-Hussein could have easily closed the door of forgiveness on Hur, yes? He could have said, no way, my children, not just my children, my 6-month-old baby, I can't even hear a noise from the baby anymore. All because of that man blocking me from my journey. And I tell you, what Hur went through thinking about this destroyed him, because it hurt him so much. Will I be the cause of Imam al-Hussein's death? Will I be the cause of Zainab being alone as a prisoner? Will I be the cause of these children having no one to protect them? But the door of forgiveness never closes in the school of the Imams of Ahlul Bayt. Never. The Imams of Ahlul Bayt, if they saw someone's willing to ask, they'd keep the door open. And you know what affected Hur? The night of the 10th of Muharram affected him, and then on the morning of the 10th he was affected. How? On the night of the 10th of Muharram, you would hear these cries, Al-Atash, Al-Atash, Al-Atash. The thirst, the thirst, the thirst is killing us. This began to hurt him, that he had known, it's me, I'm the one, I'm the cause why these children are saying that they are thirsty. Then he heard the cry of Imam al-Hussein, Hal min nasirin yansuruna. Yes? Is there any helper to help us? And he thought to himself, Abba Abdullah is crying for a helper and there's none to help him. Then there were 3 moments on the morning of the 10th where he realized, what am I doing? Where am I heading? You know what the moments were? The first of them, he saw Shimr look at Imam al-Hussein, and Shimr called out to Imam al-Hussein. Imam had put some fire in front of his tent. Shimr looked towards Imam al-Hussein. He said to him, Hussein, are you preparing yourself for the fire of the day of judgment? Hur turned around. He thought, how dare he say that to my master? Then he asked Umar bin Sa'ad. He said, Umar bin Sa'ad, what's going to happen today? You know what Umar bin Sa'ad replied to him? He said, today hands will be cut and heads will be severed. This put him down, yes? But the final thing that made him ask for forgiveness, what was it? Umar bin Sa'ad's horse couldn't take the heat of Karbala. The horse of Umar bin Sa'ad, the hooves were burning. So Umar bin Sa'ad called out, I want someone to bring water for my horse, because my horse's hooves can't take the heat of Karbala. At this moment, Hur thought to himself, if your horse cannot take the heat of Karbala, then how is the son of Fatima al-Zahra taking the heat of Karbala? It began to affect him at that moment. He began to ponder upon himself, what have I done? How have I hurt the grandson of Rasulullah? How have I hurt the son of Ali ibn Abi Talib? How have I hurt the son of Fatima al-Zahra? How have I hurt the nephew of Ja'far al-Tayyar? How have I hurt the nephew of Hamza bin Abd al-Muttalib? He began to walk around in a state. Even Muhajir narrates, he said, we came to Hur, we said to him, if they asked us who's the bravest warrior in Kufa, we would say it's you, Hur bin Yazid al-Riyahi, but you look like there's a problem. What is it? He looked at me, said that I have to make a decision between heaven and hell, and between this world and the hereafter. Yes, he had to make that decision all of us have to make in this life. He turned around towards his brother, he turned around towards his servant, he said to them, take me to Abba Abdullah. He went on his horse towards Imam al-Hussein. One narration mentions he wanted his face to be covered. He was embarrassed, yes? He went towards Imam al-Hussein. His face was covered. When he went towards Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, Abu Fadl al-Abbas came out because he thought something was going to happen. Imam al-Hussein said, Abbas, Abbas return. And then Hur came. He said, Abu Abdullah, I beg you forgive me. I didn't know this is what they were plotting. I didn't know that this was their intention. Look at the heart of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Imam al-Hussein could have easily turned around and said, no, I don't forgive you. No, he said, Hur, do not worry, you are forgiven. Welcome, join us. But do you know what Imam al-Hussein said at that moment? He said a line I'll never forget. He said, Hur, normally when a guest comes to me, I should give him something to drink. Yes, Abu Abdullah. He said, normally when a guest comes to me, I should give him something to drink. But Hur, forgive me, I have nothing to give you. Hur said, Abu Abdullah, forgive me, it's all my fault. Abu Abdullah, I ask you for one favor. I said, what is it? He said, can you go and ask Sayyidah Zainab to forgive me? Can you ask the children to forgive me? Imam al-Hussein said to him, Hur, do not worry, I'll speak to them. And then he turned around to him and he said, Abu Abdullah, allow me to be the first to fight of the soldiers of Muhammad and al-Muhammad. Imam al-Hussein bid him farewell. He went out onto the battlefield. He said his famous lines and he fought valiantly against the opposition until they all surrounded him and they struck him on the ground. When he lay on the ground, he called out, Assalamu alayka ya Abu Abdullah. When he called out, Assalamu alayka ya Abu Abdullah, Imam al-Hussein came running towards him. The line Imam al-Hussein said to Hur is a line we'll never ever forget in our life. Imam al-Hussein said, your mother was not wrong when she named you Hur. Your mother was not wrong when she named you a free man. You are free in this world and free in the hereafter. It's as if the poets say that Hur replied by saying, what honor is there better for me than looking at the eyes of Imam al-Hussein when I die? I beg you, I'm sorry that I have been the cause of whatever's happened to you. Imam al-Hussein laid him on the ground and he was left there. On the night of the 11th of Muharram, something happened which hurts the heart of every lover of Al-Muhammad. On the night of the 11th of Muharram, all of the companions, all their bodies were lying on the ground. Umar bin Sa'ad turned around towards his soldiers. There were 10 of them riding their horses, yes? Umar bin Sa'ad turned around to them. He said, oh horse riders, get off your horses. They said to him, what is it? He said, I want you to sharpen the hooves of your horses, yes? Each one of them began to sharpen the hooves of the horses. Then they said to him, what do you want us to do? He said, I want you to trample on the bodies of the companions of Hussein bin Ali. These horse riders all rode their horses. They said to him, who do you want us to trample on? He said, I want you to trample on Hur bin Yazid al-Riyahi's body. But Hur bin Yazid al-Riyahi, Banu Riyah were in Yazid's army. So when they were about to trample on the body, some of his tribe came out. They said, listen, you've already killed our son. We don't allow you to trample on his body. So then Umar bin Sa'ad said, okay, trample on the body of Habib ibn Madahir. But Habib ibn Madahir, Banu Asad were present. And they came out, they said, you've already killed our son. We don't allow you to trample on the body. He said, very well, trample on the body of Muslim bin Awsaja. But his mother's tribe were present. They said, you've already killed our son. We don't allow you to trample on his body. At this moment, they went through each companion, but each companion had a family to protect them. And then Umar bin Sa'ad called out, trample on the body of Bani Hashim and the sons of Bani Hashim. And they turned around to him, they said to him, who do you want us to trample on? He said, trample on the body of Ali al-Akbar. As they were about to come and trample on the body of Ali al-Akbar, Layla, Ali al-Akbar's mother, her tribe were in Yazid's army. And they came out and they said, you've already killed our son, we don't allow you to trample on his body. Said, very well, trample on the body of Qasim ibn al-Hasan. All of you know where I'm heading, yes? Trample on the body of Qasim ibn al-Hasan. But Qasim's mother's tribe, Banu Fazar, were present. They turned around, they said, you've already killed our son, we don't allow you. He said, very well, trample on the body of Abu Fadl al-Abbas. But Abbas's mother, al-Banin, was Shima's cousin, so they didn't allow the trembling on the body. And this moment, Umar bin Sa'ad called out, is there anybody that lies on the ground whose mother and father's tribe are not here to protect him? Yes. And they said to him, only one body lies on the ground whose mother and father's tribe are not here to protect him. He said to them, whom? They said, Abu
brother's body, there's no mother or father's tribe here to protect him. Imam Zain al-Abidin was with Sayyidah Zainab in the tent, yes? She looked at him, she said, my son, I hear something which is breaking. I don't know what it is. He turned around, he looked outside. He said to my auntie, it's the bones of my father, Abu Abdullah, being trampled on by the horses of Bani Umayyah.
Inna lillah wa inna alayhi raji'un. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to raise us with Muhammad and Al Muhammad. Ya Allah, allow us to forgive our brothers and our sisters. Allahumma aghfir lil mu'minina wal mu'minat. Raise your hands. Allahumma aghfir lil mu'minina wal mu'minat wal muslimina wal muslimat al ahya minhum wal amwat. Ta'ala Allahumma baynana wa baynahum bil khairat. Innaka mujib al da'awat. Innaka ala kulli shay'in qadir. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to instill forgiveness in the ummah of Al Muhammad. Ya Allah, allow us to follow the message of Muhammad and Al Muhammad. Ya Allah, allow us to have the forgiveness between our families like Imam al-Hussein had forgiveness with his companions. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Surah Al-Fatiha, but before it the loudest of your salawat.